Game Night is presented by Power Business Technology, your locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or visit them at powercopiers.com. Here's your host, Scott Marsh, alongside the high flyer, Henry Turner.
And a very pleasant good evening to you. Welcome inside the Golden One Center. It is time for game night. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer, Henry Turner, as we get you ready for the Kings and the Knicks tonight. It's the lone appearance of New York in town, and there's a lot of legends here tonight. Patrick Ewing is in the house, amongst others. Allen Houston is here. Jamal Crawford is going to be on the telecast tonight with Mike Breen, and of course, Doug and Jamal go way back from their Seattle days, so they gave a big hug to each other down in the media room. That's all fun, but it's a business tonight. The Kings need a win after that heartbreaking loss last night. There's no other way to describe it other than absolutely heartbreaking to lose in overtime 111-110 after being up 7 with under 2 to go in regulation and to not be able to close that one out. That is tough. And high flyer, you know, we're up on the concourse here where we broadcast from, just at the top of the first level here at Golden One Center. I'm looking down, and the G-Man is down with Wes Wilcox, and Dave Deuce Mason's down there as well. Mm-hmm. And I can't read lips. You know, I'm not close enough to do any of that. Can't hear him, obviously. But I can just see Wes Wilcox. He's got both hands. He's got his left hand hitting his right hand on the wrist. And he's pretty animated and describing things. And it doesn't take a real rocket scientist to figure out he's probably talking about that foul call on DeMar DeRozan last night.
Well, Scooter, that was one of the biggest plays that would have made a huge turnaround in that game. You know, if that call wasn't rescinded and DeMar DeRozan goes to the free throw line, he's putting the Sacramento Kings ahead by 2 possessions.
Yep.
So that would have been a big time swing.
There's no question about that. And it was certainly one of those calls that changed the outcome of the game, and certainly being talked about all day today, as the Kings did end up losing in overtime. And obviously, you know, refs are a factor in any game. We understand that, but the Kings also not being able to get a bucket in those final 2 minutes, that was a big problem in regulation.
And Scott, I will say this, you know, it was a nice day here in Sacramento, but I thought that if the Sacramento Kings would have pulled that game out last night, the sun would have shined a little bit brighter today.
Yeah, no, it's just had a hangover effect all day today.
It is, but, you know, it is what it is, and I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. This is the NBA. You can't stick and just lay down and just mull over that game. You got New York in here tonight, ready to go, ready to break their 3-game losing streak. So you really have to put that behind you, man, and look forward to say, hey, that one's over with. You can't do nothing about it, but you can do something about this game tonight.
You can indeed. And, of course, the Kings still scrapping, trying to stay in the play-in scenario and trying to move up as well. But that loss crushing the Kings 33-30 as they come into tonight. They're a game and a half behind the Clippers. They would have passed the Clips with that win last night, but now they're effectively 2.5 games behind the Clips, because not only are they a game and a half behind in the standings, but the Clippers now have all the tiebreakers. They win the season series. They're 3-0 against the Kings right now.
Yeah, that's the tough part with losing that game also, Scott. You know, it's the magnitude is just bigger than one game. You know, I know we keep preaching that, and we keep putting it out there just for the viewers and the fans to understand. Sometimes it's bigger than just one game, and that was the epitome of that.
No doubt. It was like a 3-game swing, because anytime you're playing somebody directly, it's really kind of a 2-game swing in the standings. And you throw on top the tiebreaker, that adds on an extra game if they do tie at the end of the year. So absolutely heartbreaking. But as you said, you have to move on. And the most important thing is you can't compound a loss by letting it linger and not taking care of business.
You know, the Kings don't have that equity, Scott, to, you know, let it linger and let it worry them that way. No. You got to have short-term memory, because you need this game here tonight. Yes, you're not looking at Kawhi Leonard tonight. You're looking at some other guys. You know, you're looking at Cat. You're looking at Bridges. You're going to look at some other dudes, Hart. You know, so you got a whole different sort of problems that you have to deal with. You got to let those problems you just had go.
No doubt. You absolutely do. Now, the Knicks will not have Jalen Brunson tonight, so that obviously makes it a different lineup for the Knicks, but this is still a very good team in the Eastern Conference. They're third in the East. They've got 40 wins already. They're 40-23. They've lost 3 straight, however, and we know Tom Thibodeau. He doesn't play a lot off that bench. When you lose your guy, your MVP of your team, it's almost impossible to replace him.
Oh, no, you're not going to replace him. You know, I'm pretty sure they're going to put Payne in at the starting point guard position because he usually comes in and replaces Brunson. But all in all, you know that Tibbs don't go too deep into his bench. But, you know, you have to understand this too. The New York Knicks is Thibodeau. They play hard. They play defense. They bring a certain intensity out there on the floor. So if you think you're going to have a New York Knicks team that's going to come in here and be lackluster because they done lost 3 games in a row, you're sorely mistaken.
Yeah, and for the Kings, we know they're banged up. They will be without Sabonis. My understanding is they're still going to be without Monk. There was some question about that. I haven't seen an updated injury report, but I heard some rumors going around that Monk wasn't on the latest injury report. So we'll try to get that updated throughout the hour here. But the new one that I wasn't aware of, and we do have confirmation that Monk is playing now.
Nice.
That is great for the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
However, Jake LaRavia will not play tonight.
Now, see, that hurts once again. You know, Scooter, we've always talked about the biggest Achilles heel for this basketball team was the depth coming off the bench. And, you know, and since the trades and everything went down, we kind of felt comfortable with our bench saying, okay, we got enough coming off the bench to compete. And now you're losing one of your main guys. Jake played 30 minutes plus last night.
Yeah, he was great.
So, you know, you talk about a guy that Doug is starting to trust and, you know, really wants out there on the floor. You know, he's showing what he can do. Now, all of a sudden, he's not available. So that puts a dent in what you have coming off your bench.
Yeah, Doug Christie mentioning he was with the medical staff having that knee looked at, and he would probably not play. I don't know if it is official there, too, but if it's not the case, he's not playing. We'll update that. We'll have our Ginger and Hammer injury report coming up at the end of the show. And, of course, you know, going back to last night, the thing that can't be overlooked, I mean, you got beat by 2 Hall of Fame players who made Hall of Fame plays down the stretch.
You got beat by a NBA Finals MVP that made a hell of a shot over a decent defensive stance. And, you know, Scott, that's the type of situation that you have to live with. And he made it with the offhand.
Yep.
Right? You know, Keegan did everything that he could possibly do to defend Kawhi Leonard the best of his ability. And, you know, it's just good defense, but better offense. That's all that was. You got beat by a Hall of Fame guy. That's why Kawhi is who he is.
No doubt. And to be honest with you, I was surprised they gave him the ball, not because he's not capable.
Because he had been stinking the whole game.
Well, it was just, I mean, nobody had stopped James Harden prior, right?
Right.
He had the ball all the other times down the floor.
Right. And Kawhi had missed layups.
Yeah.
Right. He had missed chippies, missed bunnies. Mm-hmm. I was surprised that they went to him at that particular point. Matter of fact, I need to call B-Shaw and ask him, was that the play you drew up, or did Kawhi just take it upon himself?
Yeah, and it's interesting. Your close friend, Brian Shaw, was coaching last night with Tyronn Lue, having to leave the arena after doing his media press conference, having back pain. So that's interesting. So Brian Shaw took over.
Yeah, you know, B got a chance to step in. And, you know, Brian has been a head coach in this league.
Yeah.
And he's been, you know, an assistant head coach for a very, very long time, going all the way back to his time with the LA Lakers. So, you know, B is well equipped. And I'm wondering, you know, at some point, will he get another shot at a head coaching job? Because he's a great associate head coach.
Yeah, no doubt. He's obviously deserving and certainly can get the job done. And, you know, James Harden, it was just pick your poison. I mean, the Kings tried different combinations. They put Keon on him. He was too small. They put LaRavia on him. He wasn't quite quick enough. Not that James Harden is all that quick, but nobody could keep in front of James Harden.
They couldn't stay in front of him. They couldn't body up with him. But Scott, I think that's where basketball IQ comes into play, because this is James Harden we talked about.
Yep.
If you watched any of James Harden's games, where is he going? He's going left,
Yep.
left, right, and then back to his left.
Yeah.
So you really have to play him for that right-hand shot, and he got to his left-hand side easy.
Yeah, no doubt. Doug's been so creative defensively late in that game. I was a little surprised they didn't try blitzing, getting the ball out of the hands of James Harden.
Either blitzing James Harden, Scott, or at least stunning. Acting like you're going to double team him, run a man halfway, and then get back to your guy. It isn't like the Clippers were killing them from three.
No.
Norman Powell was not out there knocking shots down. Now, Nick Batum knocked down a few.
Yeah, he did.
But their other three-point weapon wasn't out there on the floor. So I honestly thought that they had enough room to at least, if not red him, at least stunt and get back.
Yeah, no doubt. And Katie had mentioned on the TV broadcast, and she just threw out the idea of maybe even throwing a zone at it, because they're trying to get inside and penetrate every time down the lane.
True, but it's kind of tough to throw a zone at a dude that want to shoot step back three.
Yeah,
and he'll shoot it from almost the logo. So you're still going to pretty much match up with him man to man on the top of that zone anyway.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, I think regardless of what you do, when you're talking about James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, it just felt like last night they would always have that extra answer.
And let's not cut the rest of them short.
Yep.
I mean, Zubac's had a hell of a game.
He did, 22 and 14. He was great. It was a great matchup between him and Valanciunas last night.
The one thing that I like that the Clippers did, and I wish we would do more of it, they utilized Zubac.
Mm-hmm.
They ran pick and rolls and looked for Zubac, not just look for the three, not just look for the drive and kicked out. They look for the man down low. It's been, plenty of times I've seen Valanciunas have his man sealed back to the basket, and our guys aren't looking at the basket, not looking at him. I honestly think that they can utilize him a lot more than what they do.
Yeah, no doubt. It was a good big man matchup last night, and obviously Levine had a big game, had another 30-point night, and boy, that shot in regulation, it did absolutely everything but go in.
Man, good shot.
It was.
Good shot. And, and he even tried to, create a little contact, split the double team, got to his spot, raised up. It was a good shot. It just didn't fall, Scott. And like I said, once again, you just have to live with those shots.
No doubt. All right. A painful loss, but that was yesterday. And now we're ready to focus on today. Kings and Knicks. It's the second matchup between these two teams this year. Of course, New York winning back at Madison Square Garden earlier in the year. The Kings will try to defend home court here tonight. Game night is underway. Game night being brought to you by our good friends at Howard Gumbo. And tonight, High Flyer, the Howards are going to be in the house.
Nice. So you got the tickets for them.
We do. Yeah.
Cool.
We will see Howard Gumbo here tonight. That'll be great. And looking forward to seeing him root on the Kings. And, of course, great place to go get your gumbo in town.
One of the best places to get the gumbo, one of the best places to get the catfish, the snapper, the red beans and rice, and their signature side, gumbo fries.
There you go. Thursday through Sunday, Thursdays and Fridays, 11 to 8. Saturday, Sunday, 2 to 8. Located 2120 Marconi Avenue. It's game night right here, Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
Meanwhile at Xfinity.
Okay, huddle up. Do you realize how many fans stream basketball? It's madness.
But real fans stream with Xfinity Internet.
Totally. We've engineered the fastest connection.
With reduced buffering and low lag.
'Cause making streaming better is what we do!
Yeah!
Yeah!
Can we let go now? It's really not a huddle with two people.
Switch to Xfinity Internet and stream live sports from the best seat in the house. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Actual speed vary. Not guaranteed.
Spring is in the air, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping for new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
At Valley Strong Credit Union, we know that local businesses are the backbone of the Central Valley, investing in our neighborhoods, boosting the economy, making the Valley stronger. But when it comes to their finances, where can they turn? A big bank that just sees another number? That's not good enough. Valley businesses deserve Valley support for payroll, credit, cash flow, and everything in between. Valley Business is Valley Strong. Learn how our cash management services can support your business at valleystrong.com.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Welcome back into game night right here, Sacktown Sports 1140. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer, Henry Turner. Kings and Knicks tonight, and good news for Sacramento. Malik Monk will play in this one, and that'll be a welcome sight to have Malik back out on the floor tonight.
Oh, no doubt. You know, another guy or your main guy that runs your offense, your main guy that set the tone. You know, Malik Monk has stepped into the leadership role on his basketball team. He's sorely missed when he's not out there on the floor.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. And, you know, he's just the heart and soul of the team. You know, just not that the Kings haven't played without emotion, because they certainly have. And I thought they played certainly a spirited game last night and came out with it on Friday night. But Malik just takes it to an extra level.
Yeah, he does, because he's one of the most verbal guys that we have out there on the floor. You know, we have guys that definitely lead by example, but when you talk about just being a guy that bring guys together and galvanize guys, Malik Monk is that dude.
He is. All right, game night being brought to you by the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento, our organization at the High Flyer, and myself, we're all behind a lot of kids in our community. They need an outside mentor in their lives. Maybe they come from a single-parent household and they could use somebody to be a stabilizing influence outside of that. Perhaps that's you. If you have a heart of service, you want to do something good for kids who could use that in our community, give Big Brothers and Big Sisters a look. Go to bbbs-sac.org, bbbs-sac.org, to get all the information on that. All right, for the Knicks, as we said, this is a team that's lost 3. They've had a couple of days off. Last time they played against the Clippers as well, and they lost that game 105-95. So both teams are coming off losses against the Clippers. The difference is New York's had a couple of days to think about it.
Right. New York has been here, probably watched that game last night, and looking at Sacramento saying, okay, what can we do? You know, looking at the Clippers. You talk about watching film. That's one of the best things that you can possibly do is when you're at your opponent's home and you're watching them on TV. Mm-hmm. You could just sit and just analyze and say, okay, what they like doing, what they don't like doing, how are they playing under this pressure, how are they playing under that pressure, are they good against the zone, how are they in transition defense? It's just so many things you could just sit and watch and really just get in your mind as a basketball player when you're just sitting here waiting for your opponent to get here to play them the next day.
It's a big plus, no doubt about it. And, you know, the Kings are going to have several back-to-backs coming up here. They've got one later in the week, Thursday, Friday, Golden State and Phoenix. They have another one next week. They have a back-to-back in Cleveland and Detroit coming up. So it's going to be tough sledding. We know that for Sacramento.
Oh, we knew this part of the schedule was coming, Scott. It's not like it's a secret. We understood that, they had one of the hardest schedules at the end. That's why, we were so disappointed at the way that the beginning of the season played out, because we really felt like that was the time for the Kings to really stack up wins, because you definitely had the storm coming.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, for the Knicks, obviously their big acquisition this year was going out and getting the big cat, Karl Anthony Towns. He has really filled in nicely for them after sending Julius Randle to the Timberwolves. They lost Dante DiVincenzo as well. They signed Mikal Bridges in the offseason, and that guy, all he does is play games. That guy's Mr. Consistent.
Right.
He's done a great job for this team this year. Josh Hart has been a Kings killer on the glass, and then also getting OG Anunoby. So it's not a deep roster in the sense that Tom Thibodeau is not going to go deep off the bench.
Anyway.
But it is a solid starting five.
And I'll tell you what, Josh Hart is the engine, is the motor to this team. Yes, Brunson is the driver. He makes it work, all right? Karl Anthony Towns is another big part of what they do, but Josh Hart is the guy that does all the dirty work. He gets all the rebounds. He takes the charges. He gets them second chance buckets. Josh Hart really pushes this team.
Yeah, he does. When you look at the East, obviously Cleveland is probably going to win the East in the regular season, at least. The Celtics are going to have something to say in the playoffs. Do the Knicks have any chance of making a run?
I think they'll be in the top four. I give them that. I honestly think Cleveland is the front runner. Always give it to Boston. Boston's the champs. They haven't been dethroned yet. Also got to give it to Boston. Milwaukee will always be there. As long as Milwaukee got Dame and Giannis, and if the other guys start playing decent basketball, they will be in the running. And right after that, I put these guys here, New York Knicks. Can they make a splash if they're playing basketball at a very high level? No doubt.
And the thing about Thibodeau that he does get criticized a little bit for is just having such a small rotation, and they feel like that catches up to the team playing them so many minutes during the regular season.
Right.
What's your thought on that?
You know what? It has to be something to it, because a lot of his basketball teams blame him for, grinding his guys down.
Yeah.
Yes, they get to the dance, but about time they get there, they're so worn and so tapped out is that they can't get over the hump.
Yeah. The interesting thing is once you get to the playoffs, the games are so spread out that usually teams tighten their rotation anyway. So you would think come playoff time, it wouldn't be as much of a factor. But to your point, it might be more of the grind of the 82 regular season games.
That's where it's at, Scott. It's the grind of all the minutes getting there. And, and I understand the sentiment of Thibodeau. It's like, okay, fellas, we got to grind this just to get here. So why am I going to save y'all for a trip that we might not even make? So, yeah, I'm going to grind you down to make sure you get there. We'll worry about the rest of it later.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll see how long Brunson's out. It's scheduled to be a couple of weeks. He wasn't going to win the MVP this year, but he certainly is a candidate. He's a guy, hopefully this injury won't affect his chance to get first-team All-NBA. He's certainly deserving.
Yeah, no doubt. Honestly, I was shocked when Brunson didn't work out in Dallas because, he played the exact same way. You saw the intensity. You saw, his drive and determination when he was in Dallas. But soon as he moved over to New York became his team. He really took off like a rocket and was like, I am the head of this snake. And he hasn't let down so far.
Yeah. How fun is it to see, just looking courtside, Patrick Ewing down there on that Knicks bench?
Big Pat, I talked to him down in down in one of the hospitality rooms, man. Patrick Ewing is one of the greatest that have ever done it. First ballot Hall of Famer. You talk about the glory days in New York.
Yeah.
And you go directly to Pat Ewing. He was the end all be all. He was the face of that franchise for what? 14 years?
Yeah, over a decade. No doubt about it. Just could never get over the Chicago Bulls hump.
He was in the same boat with everybody else.
Yep.
Good.
John Starks, Jeff Van Gundy.
Just couldn't get past Michael.
No doubt.
But I tell you what, got close as he could.
He did. I have to admit it. Every time I think of Patrick Ewing, I first think of him as Georgetown Hoya.
For sure. Because the Georgetown Hoyas.
Everybody talks about Michigan, the Fab Five, but it was Georgetown that set that.
Georgetown Hoyas changed, I want to say, changed the urban community.
Mm-hmm.
Because at one particular point, Scott, everybody, and when I mean everybody, I'm talking everybody, had to have a Georgetown starter jacket.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't have a Georgetown starter jacket, you wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
And, the way they played when they walked in, Patrick Ewing and Michael Graham,
Reggie Williams,
David
Michael
Wingate,
Jackson.
Michael Jackson. I mean, those guys just had serious bravado, bro. Yeah. And, their logo, the Georgetown Hoyas, the Bulldog.
Yeah.
That, I'm telling you, in my neighborhood, that reigned supreme.
I bet. And it was all led by Big John Thompson.
It was all led by Big JT.
Yeah, that was a special, special time in basketball history at the Big East. And, of course, our good friend Harold Presley playing at Villanova, upsetting the Hoyas when they were trying to go back-to-back, winning that game in 1985, one of the great upset wins in March Madness, which is quickly approaching him.
Yep, that's all Harold talk about. That's his claim to fame.
That was 40 years ago. 40. It's the 40-year anniversary.
Let me tell you, that game to him was bigger than any game he played in the NBA.
No doubt about it. He's been living off that for 40 years.
Man, he's been stretching it out there, Scott. He's definitely stretched it out.
We mentioned Jeff Van Gundy. We should mention, too, of course, he's a part of that Clippers coaching staff. The one point we didn't really talk about, what a difference Jeff Van Gundy has made with that Clippers defense.
Yes. Yeah. Jeff, old school, hard-nosed guy. As much as basketball has changed, Scott, some things are just a staple, bro. Some things are just a staple, and especially when you start talking about either closing out games, being in crunch time, getting to the playoffs. That defensive presence has to be there. If it's not there, you're not getting too far.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we'll take the break. When we come back, we're going to go around the league. We'll get you caught up on all the other news and notes going on. How about this? Stephon Curry accepting an assistant GM role for Davidson Hoops. How about that?
He accepted what?
We're talking March Madness. Of course, Stephen Curry going to Davidson made that huge run. He's going to be an assistant GM.
Wow.
How interesting is that, right?
It's crazy to me because colleges now have GMs.
Exactly.
What's going on here? Now you talk about how basketball has changed. Since when college started having GMs?
I tell you, when they started throwing around the NIL money, how would you like it if Steph Curry was out recruiting you?
Wow, can you imagine that?
You think we're getting some households, get some kids listening to him?
Hey, don't have to knock on no doors.
No,
the doors will fly open.
They're coming to him. All right, we'll get to the break. We'll get you caught up on all that. Of course, the other games going on a Monday night in the association. You have Denver and OKC battling right now, second night of the back-to-back. We'll get you caught up on that as well. Game night right here, Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Consolidated Communications.
I'm meteorologist Heather Waldman in the KCRA3 Weather Center. A mix of clouds and sunshine on Tuesday. Morning temperatures will be in the low 40s. Afternoon high still around 70 degrees, but there will be a stronger onshore breeze in the evening. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA News and the KCRA app.
Want internet with more speed and less frustration? Fidium Fiber Internet is better because it's built to deliver more bandwidth and speeds up to 2 gigs. Switch today and you can kiss buffering and weak Wi-Fi goodbye. Visit FidiumFiber.com.
We're super excited to announce that the new Truck Center is now open at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And it's easy to find from anywhere. They're centrally located right across from Hagan Oaks Golf Course. At Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, you never have to sacrifice great service to get a good deal. They make sure you're treated the way you deserve to be treated. Showing time and time again that Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's the place where a handshake still means something. I mean, that's the reason why people are coming from all over town. Elk Grove, Folsom, Woodland, Roseville. Stop on in and experience the difference for yourself.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Sacramento, what's up? It's your boy Henry Turner, aka the High Flyer here. Hey, you need something extraordinary? You like soul food? Howard Gumbo is the place for you. Family recipe straight from New Orleans. Gumbo is off the chain, good like mama makes. Check out their $5 bowl of gumbo. It's the best in the business. And when you talk fried catfish, fried snapper, sides, red beans and rice, Cajun rice, and gumbo fries. 2120 Marconi Ave in Sacramento. When you walk up, tell them the High Flyer sent you.
The Amish have a reputation for craftsmanship, determination, and quality. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. You know, those virtues sound quite similar to the Keys family and the day-to-day values on display at Naturewood. The Amish furniture craftsmanship begins with the finest hardwood, shaping and molding the raw materials into one-of-a-kind art. In addition to the classic styles long sought and revered by discriminating furniture lovers, Naturewood Home Furnishings offers a vast selection that includes transitional, modern, farmhouse, arts and crafts, and other stunning styles, all available in the ultimate Amish standard of excellence built over centuries. All Naturewood Amish furniture is on sale right now for a limited time. Let the Naturewood team guide you through their selection of Amish furniture that will be with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Welcome back into Game Night right here, Sacktown Sports 1140. Scott Marshall with the High Flyer, Henry Turner. Game Night is always being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Check out the full line of luxury vehicles at mbofstockton.com. Kings and Knicks tonight. New York 40-23. The Kings sitting at 33-30. We'll go around the league, but first let's just kind of look at this. We talked about how tough that loss was last night to the Clips because of the standings with the Clips in 8th place, Kings in 9th. They've got 19 games left through the Kings. To get to a top 6 spot, now they're 2.5 games behind the Warriors. So Thursday night, High Flyer, Thursday night is another one of those just pivotal games in the Western Conference for the Kings. Not just because of the matchup with the Warriors itself, but because all it means for the standings.
Right. You know, it's just another one of those games to where it's going to determine, the tiebreaker. Who has?
If the Warriors win that game, they'll have the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Yep. If the Warriors win, they have the tiebreaker. If the Kings win, they're even. Right.
Yep, exactly.
They're tied. And so when that happens, it goes back to points, doesn't it? How many points you lost by?
The second tiebreaker, I believe, is wins versus Western Conference.
Okay, I thought it came down to the points where you guys lost by.
It will at some point, but I think that's later on down the list.
Okay.
We'll get a full list for a later broadcast.
But still, the main thing with that is that the Kings are trying to leapfrog them.
Yes,
they're already in front. So they're trying to catch up games and trying to leapfrog them.
Yeah.
That's why the Kings got to play at a very Herculean rate.
They do. And if the Warriors were to win that game, your chances of getting a top 6 are virtually gone at that point.
Yes, because it's not a situation like it was last week when everybody was one game piled on top of each other.
There is some separation now.
It's some separation now. Yes, it has really separated itself. It's not a huge separation, but it's enough to say it's just going to put a serious dagger in your heart because the Kings will almost have to win out to get to that 6th spot.
Yeah, and the Timberwolves, they've won 5 straight. So they're 37-29, and they also have the tiebreaker against the Kings, and they're sitting in 7.
Another one of those one-game situations to where even if you catch them, even if you do everything that you need to do, be diligent enough to catch them, they still have the tiebreaker with that one game.
Yeah, when we were talking in the the game night last night, and we were saying if the Kings went 500, would that be enough? Certainly doesn't feel like it would be. I mean, they're going to have to rip off probably 13 or 14 wins. They're going to have to get to 46 or 47.
Wow.
I think.
I mean, and that means on a serious heater.
Yeah.
You know, don't have no room for, 5 games and maybe a loss.
No.
You know, another 5 games and maybe a loss.
No.
You know, another 5 games and maybe a loss. No, you got to rip off like 9, 10 in a row.
No doubt. And that's with the Grizz coming in next week. That's with the Cavs coming in next week. That's with the Bucks coming in next week, and the Celtics following on Monday.
We got the Cavs twice.
So here's the Kings. The good news is they get a lot of these high-quality opponents at home here in March. But think about this. They play 3 and 4 nights, Bucks, Celtics, and Thunder.
Wow. And see, and the thing about that, too, is that, some of those teams in the East, all right, those teams might not be looking at some of these games saying, okay, we're relaxing. We're just trying to get to the end. No, they're tight. They're trying to say, okay, we can go in there and get Sacramento because they're trying to leapfrog some people. So nobody is really going to look at this last push and say, okay, we're able to drop a couple of games, so we'll be all right with that.
Yep, everybody needs it just as much. And we talked about the Rockets, maybe a team that would fall back. They've seemed to stabilize a little bit here. They did lose Amen Thompson. He is going to be out with that ankle for at least a couple of weeks. So we'll see what kind of impact that has for the Rockets.
Hurts them big time.
Yeah, it will.
Hurts them big time.
It will, no doubt. I mean, right now they're in the 5th spot, 39-25. They're 3 games up in the win column over Golden State. They're actually 3 games up, period, over Golden State. So they've got a little bit of a buffer, but we'll see if they're able to manage without Amen Thompson. Also, Reed Shepherd, they lose him for 4 weeks.
Wow. You would have never thought that Ime Udoka was going to come in and turn this team around so fast. But he has, man. I mean, he's done a great job being able to come in and really get these young guys to buy in. Scott, that's where it's at now. Being a head coach, the number one thing you have to do is be able to get your guys' ear, and they have to believe in what you sell them.
That's for sure. He's done a great job, and we know what he did in Boston. So he's getting it done in Houston now as well. All right, let's go around the league. Let's look at the other games going on a Monday night in the association. You have the Hawks and the 76ers. Both of those teams the Hawks are in the play-in situation. The Sixers year is basically over at this point. Celtics in the Jazz, Boston 107, Utah 103. Closer than many people would have thought at this point with 3 minutes left to go in the Garden. Lakers, how about this? We know LeBron is out. They're losing in Brooklyn right now, 95-87 with 5 minutes to go. Luka has a triple-double in that game, 17, 11, and 11.
Now, that's going to be interesting. How long is LeBron going to be out, and are they going to be able to galvanize and win basketball games while LB is trying to recover?
Well, they're saying it could be 2 weeks. Let's just use that as a barometer. They have 6 games in the next 10 days.
That's what I'm saying. 2 weeks will knock you down.
2 weeks of a lifetime in the NBA.
2 weeks will knock you down. But you know what, Scooter? When we were talking about these basketball teams and how tight everything is, and who do you feel the worst for? The Philadelphia 76ers or the Dallas Mavericks?
Personally,
because both teams were championship or bust, and they felt like they were this close to being able to compete for a championship, and now the wheels have fallen off for both of those teams, all 4 wheels.
Yeah. I don't know if first of all, I don't feel necessarily real bad for either team, but if you were to, hold me to it, I'd probably say Philadelphia, because it really bothers me about the Embiid situation. And, I don't know how well it was handled or not handled. I just hate seeing him not be able to play. And now Maxi's hurt, and I love watching him play. I feel like Dallas's is a little more self-inflicted.
I don't know, though. I mean, losing Luka.
But I'm saying it's not like they lost Luka. They gave up Luka.
Well, I'm saying
that's my point.
Yeah, losing Luka, and then you bring AD in, and he plays that first game, and you have some type of hope saying, "Whoa, wait a minute, this might not be that bad."
Yeah,
and all of a sudden he goes down.
Right,
and then you lose Gafford, you lose Lively, you lose PJ Washington,
and then the topper with Kyrie,
then Kyrie goes down. I mean, it can't. I mean, it can't.
They
get
had 7
worse.
guys last time out. They couldn't even really substitute.
It can't get any.
I feel
worse.
terrible for Jason Kidd.
Right.
I don't know if I feel terrible for the organization. I mean, Nico Harrison. He
It
made the trade, right?
It is what it is with him, no doubt.
He made the trade,
right?
Embiid. Again, the only thing that makes me maybe not feel as bad for that situation. That he played in the Olympics, and then there was that time afterwards, like people questioned whether he got in shape for the year, but he's had problems with that knee for a long time, so I can't really hold that against him.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is, we know how big guys react to knee surgery, and they don't do well. So
I just want to see him come back because, as you've said, he's an MVP player when he's playing at his.
Oh, for sure. I mean, MVP caliber. I mean, in this particular league, there's nobody size and strength that can match up with him.
Yeah.
He's definitely a anomaly right there. But the thing about it now is, big men's shelf life ain't long in this league.
No doubt. All right, other scores right now. Heat leading the Hornets, 88-86. Raptors over the Wizards, 113-99. Pacers playing without Tyrese Halliburton, out with that hip. Again, they're getting blown out in Chicago, 84-62. The Rockets leading against Orlando at home, 65-58. The Grizz on top of the Suns, 83-76. The battle of the night, Thunder and Nuggets. OKC 88, Denver 85. That's halfway through the third. At halftime, the Spurs are leading those Mavs 63-60. Warriors at home to take on the Trailblazers. And then the game we will focus in on when we come back, Kings and Knicks. We'll talk about what Sacramento needs to do to even up the season series against New York. Game night's being brought to you by Power Business Technology. Experience for yourself how the power of family can help you with all your business copy or needs. Give them a call today, 1-844-POWER-BZ, or go to powercopiers.com. More of Game Night, including the Ginger and Hammer injury report, coming up next right here, Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Keegan Murray plays here.
Keegan scores another three-pointer. Keegan Murray knocking it down for 23 points. Snatched De'Aaron Fox for game scoring honors.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery. One of the most common questions I receive is what makes us different from other law firms. At Gingery, Hammer & Associates, we handle your case from beginning to end. Whether your case reaches a settlement, whether we need to file suit, or even take it all the way to trial, we will be with you along the entire way. And because we are committed to you and your case, we are as invested as you are in making sure you get the outcome you deserve. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. New Hondas are piling up, and that means big savings for you.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Get ready for your chance to win $1 million by entering Sacktown Sports Bracket Challenge on Sunday, March 16th. Brought to you by Xfinity. Stream live sports from the best seat in the house.
Hi, this is Henry Turner, a.k.a. the High Flyer. I've done a lot of amazing things on the basketball floor, but now it's your turn to be amazing. For more than 55 years, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento has helped out the youth beat many odds. Too many littles, especially boys, are still waiting for volunteers, Big Brothers. Volunteers to spend at least 4 to 6 hours a month with local youth who needs guidance and support. So donate your time to Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the greater Sacramento area. Get involved. It's easy as a layup. Call 916-646-9300.
Welcome back into Game Night right here, Sacktown Sports, 1140. Scott Marsh along with the High Flyer, Henry Turner. All right, it is time now for our Gingery and Hammer injury report. And, of course, if you're ever in an injury, just call Gingery. We go back to the Sacktown studios. Anthony, take it away.
All right, so starting with the Sacramento Kings, Jay Crowder, Jake LaRavia, and DeMontis Sabonis are all out tonight. And for the New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson and Ariel Hook-Porty are out, as well as 2 G Leaguers on assignment.
All right, there we go. Thank you. Obviously getting Malik Monk back, the one you did not mention. That is the key thing for the Kings tonight. They have certainly missed him since going down with that sprained ankle, and it's good news that he is back tonight for Sacramento. He'll be there. No Jalen Brunson for the Knicks. And tell you what, Brunson's playing at an MVP level The Knicks have lost their last 3 games, and it's been really tough sledding. They're out on this West Coast swing. They're in Golden State after going to Portland, and this 6-game West Coast swing. There's a lot of talk that they could go 0 on this trip. So right now they're just trying to tread water as well as they get through one of the tougher parts in their schedule. Cameron Payne maybe will start. Miles McBride got the start last time at the point in replacing Brunson. He only had 7 points. He was 2 of 13 from the floor. So he really struggled playing 34 minutes against the Clippers in their loss at the Intuit Dome on Friday night, 105-95. And we'll see what Tom Thibodeau elects to do tonight with his roster as he still tries to juggle it up without Jalen Brunson in the lineup. All right, that's your Ginger and Hammer injury report. High Flyer, we know we're getting Malik Monk back tonight, and that is welcome news for the Kings.
Oh, big time. Big time. I would say this, though, Scott. I think the Kings did a pretty good job while he was out. Held court.
Yeah.
Was able to still win basketball games. Just didn't fall apart, still kept going. But this team is much better with Malik starting at the point guard position.
Yep, no doubt. All right. No Jake LaRavia. What's the impact of that?
It takes the sting out of your bench. If you looked at last night's game, Jake LaRavia played 30 minutes plus. So, Doug is starting to trust in him. Whatever he's doing out there on the floor, Doug has him out there playing. So now he's not, available to you. So what are you going to get off the bench now? Whatever special that LaRavia has, Doug likes seeing it on the floor.
Okay. I agree with that. What about some of the matchups tonight? No Jalen Brunson. That's a relief for the Kings, but still plenty of other talented offensive players out there.
Yeah, you got other guys that's going to step up. I mean, Scooter, we've talked about this all year. When one of the main guys are down, you're going to have somebody on that bench that's going to try to step up and have a Jalen Brunson type night. So, I'm looking very close at Payne. I'm trying to definitely keep him under his numbers because he's going to be in pretty much for Brunson.
Now, they started Miles McBride at the point on Friday night.
Wow.
Payne came off the bench.
Okay. Well, Miles, whoever starts for him, I'm definitely keeping an eye on that guy to where he don't come in and get comfortable and think he going to have a Brunson type night.
Yeah, combined, McBride and Payne. McBride played 34 minutes. Payne played 14. Collectively, they were 4 of 20 from the field.
That goes to show that they're going to let that ball go.
Yeah.
They're not shy of shooting it. They're going to put it up, and you don't want those guys to get comfortable. How many times have we said, don't let a guy come in here and see his first couple of shots drop? That's the worst because now he's got confidence, and you're fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, want to get your thoughts on this. Doug was asked in the pregame press conference. The gist of the question was, do you feel like the team is playing better defense now than before? Are they giving better effort? I think Doug thought the question might have been more of like an angle of Mike Brown's regime versus him. He didn't really want to answer the question, and I understand that also. I just want your take on where you think the Kings are defensively. If you look at the numbers, they have played much better defense.
If you want to look at the numbers, they're playing better defense. If you want to look at the player participation out there, different players.
Yeah.
Okay. The overall question for DC, Scott, this dude is dealing with so much inside the basketball with the players, trying to win basketball games, matching up, all this other stuff. And you just lost a heartbreak game. You don't have no room to start thinking about this regime against that regime.
Of course.
And I honestly understand how you could get a little beside yourself or a little irate. You're like, man, I ain't got time for that.
Of course. And I don't think the question was meant that way, but I can understand how it was taken that way.
But when you ask the question like that, Do you think they're playing harder under your regime or under the last
I'm paraphrasing,
regime?
so we'd have to go back and listen to the press conference. But yes.
But we were in there, so we heard.
You heard it. You heard it. Okay.
So it's like,
how did you take the whole exchange?
I understand where Doug's coming from.
I do too.
I'll just put it that way.
Yep.
Because we only know a portion.
Sure.
Of the pressure he's under.
No doubt.
And the portion we know is heavy.
Right.
So I can imagine what he has all going on. And at the end of the day, when you have people questioning you about things that you have really no control over, he had no control over Mike Brown's regime.
Yeah.
Yes, he was a piece of the puzzle, but that was on Mike.
Yep.
That's why the last presser, when the guy asked him the question, he said, "Look, I'm the head coach now.
Yep.
And it starts and ends with me. I take the bullet, I take the knives, I take whatever it is that I got to take. I'm the one that's making the calls now."
Yep, agreed. All right, let's move on to some of the other matches. What about the big man matchup tonight, Big Cat versus Valanciunas?
Wow. That's going to be very interesting because the Big Cat has an outside game. This is why they're playing at a very high level, because they can take a 7-foot guy and put him at the three-point line, and he can be just effective as he would be down in the low post. And what that does, Scott, is that brings your number one defender, that brings your number one rim protector, that brings your number one rebounder out from up under the basket, and that puts you at a deficit.
Yeah, no doubt. Anthony, was Mitchell Robinson on the injury report as well? For the
He
Knicks?
was not. He is available.
I was I see Mitchell Robinson out there.
He's not
so
even
he
listed
didn't play. He didn't play Friday night, left ankle surgery, injury recovery, but he'll play tonight, and he's obviously another big body inside.
Now, I will say this. I'm much comfortable with Valanciunas on Mitchell Robinson because Mitchell doesn't have an outside game. Mitchell's not going to try to put the ball on the ground and beat you. Cat's almost like a 7-foot guard because he does have enough wherewithal to where he could put the ball on the ground and dribble 3 or 4 times and be able to get to the basket. I mean, he really opposes a serious mismatch. That's why, he's playing at such a very high level.
Yeah, no doubt. So there's a lot of good matchups tonight. And, of course, the one thing, and, of course, the Kings hopefully don't have this mindset. Just because Jalen Brunson's out there, there's nothing you can take for granted tonight. This is a gritty, gutty New York Knicks team.
No matter who's down there, no matter what color the uniform is, Scott, these guys got to come out and say, we need a W. It's the eye of the tiger from the giddy up. Don't care who we're facing. We just lost a heartbreak last night. A heartbreak game to where I honestly thought they played well enough to win that game.
Yep.
They did things good enough to win. It didn't happen. You have to bounce back tonight and get this one.
That was a great regular season game, by the way.
I love the game. Like I said, I thought the Sacramento Kings did everything in their power to win that basketball game. It just came down to a great player making a tough shot.
No doubt. If for anybody who says the players don't show up and show out during the regular season, just watch that game again, Lawson.
I mean, that's what make Kawhi. The dude isn't a finals MVP for nothing. It's not like, he's out there with osmosis of, is he a good player? Isn't he a good player? No, the dude is for real.
He is definitely for real. And what's for real is this show is over. So, Henry, always great to work with you. I know it's disappointing to you.
That's
but
all
fortunately, you have Kings Live pregame, the game to actually call as well.
And you know what? And just like the Kings season, we do have another game coming up.
We got to keep it rolling. All right, that's going to do it for Game Night. Our thanks to Anthony back at the Sacktown Studios. Coming up next, Kings Live pregame. Jason Ross here with the High Flyer for that. 7:30 tip tonight. It's on NBA TV. G-Man with the call. Of course, keep it tuned all night long right here. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you